Hello everyone, and welcome to this first real lesson of this Introduction to Programming Through Video Games course. So just for this particular section, I just want to start out by talking a little bit about the environment that we're going to be using to do our programming, and really kind of explain to you about the language that we're going to be using as well. So the first thing you want to do, um, I have this link here. It's https editor.p5js.org. Okay, so you're going to want to go ahead and open that. So I'm going to show you in another tab where I already have it open. So when you get to this site, it's going to look something like this. Okay, and we are going to be using this this editor, to do our coding for this course. And we're going to be able to make a lot of cool things in here. It's completely free. You don't have to pay or anything like that. And you don't have to sign up for this if you don't want to, but we'll talk about that in a second. So let's just go back for a brief moment here, and let's talk about what this, I gave you this p5.js web editor, but what actually is p5.js? So first of all, let's talk about something called JavaScript. Okay, you might have heard of JavaScript before. It's different from another language called Java. JavaScript and Java are two different things, but JavaScript is the main programming language that makes websites interactive. So, when you see people who have written a website, a lot of times the glue that really makes the interactivity in that website is this JavaScript programming language. Okay, and there's also another important language involved in web development called HTML5, which we probably won't talk too much about in this course, but just know that it does exist. And JavaScript and HTML5 really work together. And like we said, it really allows you to do interactive and dynamic things, such as adding animation, audio, games, and other cool things and dynamic and interactive experiences to a website. Okay? So that's what JavaScript is. Now, what is p5.js? So p5.js is a JavaScript library that makes it easy to do fun things like drawing to the screen, making animations, and other helpful features. So if we look at the official p5.js website, the description they give us is that it's a JavaScript library for creative coding, with a focus on making coding accessible and inclusive for artists, designers, educators, beginners, and anyone else. So, normally when you're learning to code in just straight up regular JavaScript, uh, you know, there are a lot of things that you really have to sort of code by hand. But when we use p5.js, a lot of that work is done for us. And that takes us to what this idea of a library is. So when we're talking about coding and programming, a library is a collection of reusable code that our programs can use. Okay, so basically, it's a collection of code that's already been written and packaged for you by other developers. And it's really helpful because it can save us a lot of time when we're writing a program, because we don't have to do all of the pieces of the program from scratch. So, we might think of things that you might need to do on a website, maybe saving images or saving files, loading files, uh, you know, things like that. You just think about things that you can do, such as being able to click on different parts of a website and adding buttons and things like that. If we had to program all of that from scratch, then that would take us a really long time. But p5.js really makes a lot of the work easy for us, or easier for us. Okay, so Now that we have an understanding of what we're going to be working with, let's go ahead and take a look at the web editor. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of a tour here. The first thing we're going to look at is this play button. Okay, so we see this play button and we see this little part of the screen that says preview. So let's watch what happens when we click the play button. Okay, so you might have seen briefly there was a little message that said loading, and then it draws this gray square. Okay, so the preview window, and we'll explain more about why this gray square was drawn, but basically what the preview window is where the code that we write in this left-hand side, you see all this text like function setup and function draw. That's our code, and the preview window is where the results of our code will show up when we run it. And again, we press the play button to run the code. To stop the code, you press stop, this stop button here. Okay, so it might not have looked at it from this very simple program that we just ran, but you might end up writing a really complicated program that has a lot of animation and things going on. So, sometimes you will want to stop that code from running because a lot of times that can sort of use up your web browser's memory and resources. So you might not want to just leave it running there. Okay, so that's why we have our play button, our run button, and our stop button. Okay, and again, this editor window where we have all this text written, that's where we're actually going to write our code. Okay, so let's go ahead and see some of the other things that we can do here. So you see here, when you first load this page, I have this bit of text here that says tourmaline request, and you see this little pencil next to it. So this is some randomly generated text that's a name for your sketch, or what they call these in p5.js, they call the programs that you write sketches. So this is the name of your sketch. And you see, if I click on it, it gives me turns into a text box where I can edit and I can change the name of it. So I might call it my first sketch or something like that. You could call it whatever you want. Okay? Um, so one of the reasons why you might be wondering, okay, well, why do I need to change the name of my program? A really nice thing that you can do in p5.js is if you sign up, you see here login or sign up, you can save your sketches or your programs, and when you I'll show you here the list of the programs that you saved, you'll be able to see the name of them. Okay, so if you I would highly suggest going, clicking on this sign up button, and it'll give you you'll need to have an email, and you just come up with a password and whatever the case may be. And here I'm just going to go to this page where I've already signed in. Okay, so and see here, this was a different page and it's given me a different name, Prickle Baroness. Okay, now once I've signed in, if I look up in the corner, it says hello, and then it'll have whatever your username is. I am Empress Dragon Lady, and if I click on this, it takes me to a couple of options. So right now we're going to look at my sketches. Okay, so I'm going to go to my sketches, and you see here where I have some code that I've already saved, right? And I have a couple, like a chase game and whatnot. And if I click on it, it will take me to a page where I have some code that I've already saved, and I can just run it and see this. This is a sketch that has that actually does something. Okay, so that's really nice. I can go and look at my collections or the sketches and programs that I've done. Another thing, I can go to the file menu. I can save. I can click a new sketch, or make a new sketch. I can duplicate one if I need to do that, and I can download to my computer. I can also share. So if I click on this, link or this button or option rather, then it gives me a set of links where I can share my sketches with other people. So if I want to send them um, the page with the code, I can click on the edit link and send them that. Or if I want them to just be able to look at the game or sketch that I've made, I could just copy the full screen or the present, and it says it copies to my clipboard. And now if I go to another page and paste that in, you see that it just gives me it just takes me to the site with the animation itself. And I think maybe I didn't, I think I didn't save this. Okay, yeah, so if I save it just now, and then if I go again, and you'll see that if I um, reload it now, it'll show the actual animation without the code. Okay, so that's a brief introduction to the environment and the programming language that we're going to be using. Like I said, I would highly recommend that you create an account so you can save your work and share it if you want. If you don't want to do that, you're not comfortable or you don't have an email address, another option is to, let me see if I log out here. Um, let's see if I log out, then okay, so if I go to file, I can still save it. I can save it to my, oh, okay, so I can't save it if I'm not logged in. But there's no option to download. But what you can do is just, if you don't want to create an account, you can just maybe like copy the code, paste it into a document somewhere or email it to yourself, and then when you come back to a fresh window, just paste in that code again. But like I said, easier to just create an account and log back in. All right, so that's all for this first little bit, this first little introduction. And please join me for the next part where we're actually going to take a closer look at this code here. All right.